What up, everybody? Welcome to the Opps SportsCast. How everybody doing today?
Doing good, bro. How you doing?
Doing good, man. Beautiful day in paradise, living the dream. You know how it is.
Yes, sir. What up, Big Z?
How you feeling, man? How you feeling? Yeah, we got a big show for everybody today. But if it's your first time in, make sure that you like and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button, smash it right now. We're gonna get into some crazy topics today in the sports world. Just fixing the camera a little bit here. We're gonna be covering a myriad of topics, getting into the NBA playoffs a little bit. I think has it really been that long since because I think our last podcast the Knicks were still fighting. Now they're not anymore, and now we got some drama with Tom Thibodeau being cut. We got some thoughts and opinions on that. We're also going to be chopping up the whole drama that happened between RG3 and Mr. Clark from ESPN regarding Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. And then, we're going to be also, talking about some comments that was made in the sports world regarding marriage, I believe, as well. And so,
Mm-hmm.
so a lot to cover today. Glad to have you all with us. We're going to be chopping it up in just a second here, but first we always throw it out to our sponsor, Opps Sports Radio. Dave, why don't you take us in on that?
All right. So you mean opposition radio?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Opposition. My bad.
It's all right, man. All right, man. We're gonna give a shout out to opposition radio. All right. So opposition radio is a 24-hour internet radio station that offers Christian hip hop, EDM, R&B, reggae, Latin, and pop music. Be sure to check out the amazing artists in rotation by going to the opsradio.live from any internet browser. Opposition Radio, motivation to stand firm.
Yes,
Word.
sir. Yes, sir. So if you're new to the podcast, the way that our format is that usually we throw up a 1 through 5 to indicate agreement, 5 being a strong agreement, 1 being disagreement. And so we don't have our boy Josh with us today, but we're going to jump right in here because our first topic is talking about the NBA Finals. Last week, full disclosure, I called the Oklahoma City Thunder and Indiana Pacers finals probably the most boring finals in recent memory. I don't think there's a whole lot of dispute in that, but what is pretty interesting to me is is what happened with Tom Thibodeau. That's kind of the angle I guess I want to take with this. Is just I have some real strong views on that, but we got a topic here, so we'll stick to that. But after
No,
ousting
we can talk about that, man. We got to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? So,
Okay, cool. So I would say on a scale of 1 to 5, like, do you guys agree that the Knicks, that Tom Thibodeau of the New York Knicks deserve to be fired? 1, 2, 3. Oh, okay. 1 for Zeke, 2 for Dave. I'm at a 1, bro. I don't think he deserved to be fired. But all right,
speak on
well,
it.
for me,
Yeah.
bro, like as a Knicks fan all my life, there was a time where I just to be completely, and this is embarrassing as a sports fan, especially on a sports cast. I stopped watching basketball because I'm a true fan. Like I'm not, I, I'm a one. I'm not a flimsy fan. Like I'm not gonna bounce to a different team. I know some people have the ability to do that. Unfortunately, I don't. If my team sucks, I go from watching every game to watching 0 games. It's bad. And so like my team was that bad, whereas they're like, I can't stomach this. Like it's affecting my mood. And so I stopped watching for years. And then the Knicks finally got a little good with Carmelo. I started watching again, and they sucked again, and I stopped watching again. And it was just they're like, yo, I can't sit there and watch other teams. It's just they're like, that's not my team, right? And so like the Knicks finally have been great under Tom Thibodeau. They have a culture, they have an identity, and that was because of Tom Thibodeau. His defensive style harkened back to the early 1990s, and to me, it was just so New York. Tom Thibodeau was New York basketball to me. Like that's what he represented to me. It was bigger than just the players. It was the style of which they played. And so for him to take us to the highest of highs that we have ever been in, I mean, I forget what the stat was, 20 years, 30 years? When was the last time we made it to the Eastern Conference Finals? It's been that long. For him to take us to
25, I think.
the highest of highs and then to get fired, to me that's crazy to me. Like, bro, give him another year to let this cook a little bit. Or if you really want, like, trade him for, trade Cap for Giannis. I saw a meme online, and to me that was just, it just said it all. This is the second time that Carl Anthony Towns got Tom Thibodeau fired. And to me, that's crazy. The man plays no defense. Like, you can't have him and Brunson on the court at the same time. But bro, Brunson is a small guard. Cat, he like, bro, you're big. Like, play some defense, bro. Block some shots, divert some. To me, it's just crazy, bro. But like, no, I think this is not going to make them worse. They don't have a good coaching candidate in the future on the radar. Like, what is the game plan here? What are we doing? What are we doing? We're going to hire whatever Coach Giannis tells us to pick up. Like, I mean, that's the only hope as a Knicks fan. Because if you're going to run it back with this team and think we're going to be better, you think someone's going to make Cat play defense better than Coach Tom Thibodeau? I don't know that there's a coach out there that make Cat play defense, bro. I mean, y'all can tell me what you think, but that's my take.
Go
Uh,
ahead, Dave.
yeah, Dave, yeah.
Me? All right. Do I think he deserved to be fired? Nah, I don't think he deserved it. Um, but I'm not really a big Tibbs fan, man. I'm not a Tibbs fan because so a lot of people say, okay, it's the coach's job to coach them during the week, and then when they get to the game, the plan is there. You know, that's nonsense to me. That's like saying, like in the military, oh, they train the troops, before wartime, but once wartime gets there, they need to know what to do. They don't need a field general. You know what I'm saying? That's dumb, man. So whoever's saying that, that's idiotic, man. A coach's job is to coach, whether it's in practice or whether it's in a regular season game, a preseason game, playoffs, the finals. His job is to coach. Every time I see Tibbs on the sideline, this dude is grimacing. He got his arms folded. He's like he just looks lost. He's not emphatic. He's not coaching the guys. He's just showing frustration. And so for me, I'm like, where's the coaching? Like he plays the same six guys all the time. You can't have the same six guys, playing 48 minutes. Well, obviously the five guys playing 48 minutes and then subbing one guy in and out whenever. But when you send in the same rotation out there all the time, it would be easy to be like, okay, it's the GM's fault because the GM is buying the groceries and Tom Thibodeau has a cook with him. I get that part, but I don't even feel like Tibbs is coaching them again. Like everybody lauds about his being a defensive minded coach. But the last time I checked, in the NBA, the team that wins is the team that has the most points. So you have to score at some point. Now, I don't think we have a problem scoring, but I just don't see Tibbs getting the people that we have right now, especially Cat, man. Cat ain't gonna play no defense. He wouldn't play defense if his life depended on it. But I don't see I don't see Cat being in our championship picture, and I never saw Tibbs being there. I'm not a Tibbs fan from a coaching standpoint. I love the fact that he gave Rose all those opportunities. He loved Derrick Rose, and he always treated Derrick Rose great as a player. And Rose had a lot of good things always to say about him. But I don't think Tibbs deserve to get fired, but I do think that they need a coach that's more in your face. They need a coach that's going to push them and say, "Listen, get it done." That's my take.
Yeah, Z.
I'm not gonna waste your time. Do I think he needed to get fired? Nah. Um, I saw a stat where before he got hired, like the 6 years before they hired Tibbs, they had like a 31% win percentage. And in the 5 years since he's been there, they've won over half their games, like 56.5% of their games, and they've gotten to the playoffs 4 out of 5 times. At some point, the players got to be held accountable. Like you said, Chris, I don't see how they unless they. I know Dave has been talking about them going to get Mark Jackson or whatever. Um, I don't know if there's a coach out there that's gonna make them better in the immediate future. So I mean, even if they run with the same roster, I don't see how this is gonna make them better or even keep them at the level. I mean, like you said, they got to the Eastern Conference Finals. They have a good team just for some reason. I've always had a thing with Tibbs ever since he had Derrick Rose playing in that blowout playoff game and
Right.
blew his knee out.
Yeah.
So I really don't have much positive to say about Thibodeau, but I don't hate the man. I don't have much negative to say about him. I hope he lands on his feet somewhere because he's a good coach. I mean, you take that away from what happened in Chicago, and he had a good time in Chicago. It was fun to watch basketball when Tibbs was coaching that team. So I hope he lands on his feet. I don't think he deserves to
Oh
get
yeah.
fired.
I disagreed like what you did, Dave, with his rotations. Definitely disagreed with the way he used
Absolutely,
his subs, and I get that. But at the same time, it's like I think if you're trying to say like, hey, let's go get an offensive minded coach, someone that's going to get all the different players involved, and we need to score more points, we need to outscore the other team. I get that, but with the kind of talent that we had on that squad, you're going to score points. It's playing defense. And like I understand that we didn't have the greatest defense, but if you're gonna go with an offensive coach that deprioritizes defense, you're gonna get even worse on defense, and you're gonna have to score a million points. You'll never score enough points, especially with dudes like Cat and Brunson on. You have to prioritize defense, and I just don't see anyone coming in and doing a better job than what Thibodeau did. And I'm just as a Knicks fan, I'm terrified that we're gonna go back to being terrible. I mean, and we didn't even sniff the playoffs for years.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It just, the thing with, everybody talks about how great of a defensive coach he is, man. And it's like, we could sit here and say, well, Cat didn't play defense. The last time I checked, it's 5 people out there. Game 6, man. I watched these dudes give up the part that I could stomach. I watched them give up 12 points off of transition after a score. The Knicks would score and they're slow getting back, and these dudes just throw the ball down, man, and one pass and they're scoring 12 points. They did, and
Yeah,
I'm like, what is this, man? Like, what are we doing, man? This is game 6. Like, why
I'm
are
I'm
y'all not getting back on defense? If you can't get back on defense after a score, like we don't stand a chance, man. We can forget about running defensive sets and all of that stuff. If you can't even get back after scoring and you letting dudes just go down there and just curb stomp you that way, we could sit here and talk about another coach coming in and not being able to take us to the promised land, all this stuff. If these dudes aren't doing the fundamentals, man, we could forget about it from that standpoint. And the thing is, like with Mark Jackson, it would be cool and nostalgic to bring bring Mark Jackson in. I've always thought that the first championship that Steve Kerr won in Golden State was Mark Jackson's championship because he won it with Mark Jackson's team. Now, that being said, I would prefer to see Jay Wright come in and get the job. I like Jay Wright in New York.
well, we'll see. We'll see what happens if they get Jay Wright. I know they were talking about one of the assistant coaches from the Cleveland Cavaliers,
Oh
just
my
because
God.
they wanted us to adopt more of the um, equity kind of basketball where anyone can score, especially with the talent that we got in the starting lineup. They think that the ball should be spread out a little bit more, but we'll see what decision the Knicks make. But just going based off of history, and this is just a jaded Knicks fan talking, man. Whatever decision they make is most likely going to be the wrong one, just because they're the Knicks, man. They're the Knicks. But all right, well let's keep it moving. Dave, why don't you throw up the next topic and we'll jump right into it.
All right, man.
Okay, so
Give this one a little context, and then
yeah,
read
go
it.
ahead. You want me to give the context, or you wanted to?
Go ahead. You do it.
Okay, all right. So RG3, Ryan Griffin III, or
Robert.
excuse me, Robert Griffin III, former quarterback of the Washington Redskins, now the Washington Commanders, right? Um, he is now a podcaster, and he actually used to be on the same network with Ryan Clark from ESPN way back in the day. They did not get along, to put it lightly, and there was a back and forth in over the internet based off of what happened between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. If you guys remember, it's been all over the news. There was a really hard foul that Caitlin Clark did on Angel Reese, causing Angel Reese to, in my opinion, flop. But
Yeah.
she fell down to the floor, and everybody was saying that it was like there was bad blood between the two of them, which hey, there very well might be. But it caused Ryan Clark to attack Robert Griffin III personally. As far as bringing his wife up into the mix, saying that he doesn't really understand black women because he doesn't have one inside of his house, which many have thought and said that was taking it a step too far. And so our topic today is that the back and forth drama between Ryan Clark and Robert Griffin III is just a normal part of the sports journalism landscape that exists today. Before we jump into voting, did you want to give any greater context or any more specific of an angle for that question, Dave?
I just wanted to add, so the back and forth with Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, that's mostly been one sided, and it's been the WNBA versus Caitlin Clark rather than just Angel Reese versus the WNBA. That whole thing has been one sided. We Anybody who's been watching that whole situation since Caitlin Clark got drafted, her and Angel Reese got in. They didn't really get into it, but Angel Reese was waving like a rain motion in Caitlin Clark's face when they played in college, in a championship game, and it's been a thing ongoing because Caitlin Clark has been dubbed the next great thing. So there's been a lot of animosity in the league towards Caitlin Clark because of that. She's undeserving of it. What about us? We were here before her. People don't come to see just her; they come to see me too. That kind of stuff. And I get it; egos are come into play. But this whole thing about the hard foul is nonsense. It was a basketball play, so I just kind of wanted to put that out. That's just my opinion. But this thing with Caitlin Clark has been a WNBA versus Caitlin Clark thing, in my opinion. I just want to kind of put that context out there. So,
So
do
you
you
think
got
the
anything?
WNBA is against Caitlin Clark?
I think the players are. I do. I think the majority of the players they can't stand it because she's getting the shine. There's players there that have been there and they feel like they deserve to shine. I mean, you got Cheryl Swoops who's like, I don't know, 150, and she constantly has something to say about Caitlin Clark. Just like, I mean, she will not let it go. And for her to be a legend in the game, I expect a little more from her. I don't expect her to suck up to Caitlin Clark or anything like that. But I definitely think that she could take the temperature down. But instead, she's bringing gasoline to the party wearing gasoline underwear. So
Now, just to kind of poke the bear a little bit, play a little devil's advocate, I might agree with you, I might not, but let me ask you this. Why do you think the WNBA is against Caitlin Clark? Because there's other great white players already in the WNBA. So do you think it's racial, or you think it's something else?
I think it's I think it starts with I think it's more jealousy, and then there is some racial tension sprinkled into there. But I think it's more jealousy than anything else, to be honest with you. I don't really want to come out and be like, they're being the players in the WNBA are being racist towards her. I think that it's this whole culture thing, and we'll get into it, but I think it's more of a jealousy thing because of the attention she's getting. She she signed. She was the one of the first uh, female athletes to sign a huge sneaker deal. I think she was the first, and then they gave her the what's the other young lady's name, Asia Wilson.
Oh
Aja.
yeah,
Yeah, something like that. They gave her they gave her a deal as afterwards, because there was some what about her? How come she doesn't have. So it's again, man, it's just like it's just I think it's more of a jealousy thing because of the attention that Caitlin Clark's been getting. She was filling arenas that were normally empty, even in college. And I think it leans more towards a jealousy thing than a racist, a racial, or the women are being racist towards her.
So
I think that's a bit. The more I think about it, I think it's a bit much.
what's your take on the conflict between Ryan Clark and Robert Griffin III? Do you think what the comments that Ryan Clark said involving Robert Griffin III's, who has a white wife, Caucasian wife, right? You think that was justified, warranted, or crossing the line?
So for context, let's just kind of break it down for the audience and to tell what happened. So Robert Griffin III was talking on his podcast, and he said that um, he made the comment, and correct me if I'm wrong, but he made the comment that um, the tension on the court after Caitlin Clark made the foul on Angel Reese showed the retaliation that Angel Reese had towards her showed hatred, and it shows how much she hates Caitlin Clark. And he was saying how um, this has been, everybody knows that it's been an ongoing thing, and that the women in the WNBA actually hate Caitlin Clark. And so Ryan Clark came back and basically what he said was that Ryan RG3 really kind of paraphrasing, he doesn't really have a place to talk about um, hatred from a black woman's standpoint because in his household they're not having those kind of conversations. And he alluded to the fact that Robert Griffin III has a white wife, and a lot of people felt like he was hitting below the belt by bringing his white wife into the conversation and making the assumption that because he has a white wife, there were no conversations about what the struggle of black women has been, historically and in today's world. He wouldn't know about that because those conversations aren't taking place in his home where he has a white wife. But he does have biracial daughters, and I believe Robert Griffin has four daughters. Um, and so, what the problem that I have with this whole thing is this, and my take might surprise some people, man, because I don't like the whole. There's a code, man, when it comes to these types of things. Um, if you beefing with somebody and you have tension with somebody, this goes back to the old days, man. You leave people's family out of it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, even the Costa Nostra had a code that if they were going after a guy, his family was off limits. So even the streets had a code of conduct about going after wives and children. When there's conflict going on. And obviously, um, Ryan Clark, wasn't privy to that information. But the bigger problem that I have with this situation is Ryan Clark. Um, I get so sick and tired of people like Ryan Clark thinking that they speak for every black person on the face of the earth. And he has a tendency, him and a lot of people at ESPN have a tendency to think that when they are giving their views, they're speaking from the mindset of, well, we've had these struggles and we've been through this and we've been through that. Not everybody has been through his struggle or a struggle that, um, the next person of color may have gone through. Growing up, I didn't struggle. I came from a two-parent home. I came from a middle-class home, but I had friends that struggled. I knew about their struggle, but I never tried to act like their struggle was a part of my struggle, which was no struggle. You see what I'm saying? I didn't have a struggle, but I had friends that did. And people like Ryan Clark are constantly trying to be the mouthpiece for Black America. Him, Stephen A. Smith, they're constantly trying to tell us how we should feel about stuff because we're Black people. And I get sick of that. I get tired of that because everybody's walk is different. I've experienced I haven't experienced a lot of things that certain people have experienced, but then again, I've experienced some things that they haven't experienced. And so I just need for people like Ryan Clark, when they get a platform, to stop being Malcolm X all the time, man. Stop acting like everything is always got to be about black and white and oh, they don't know, this person because they're married to this person, they have no idea what the struggle is. You know what I'm saying? It's like we need people like that to stop always trying to be the mouthpiece for black people because they come off sounding stupid. And at the end of the day, too, and this really has nothing to do with it. It's like who you date or who you marry is who you love. Like Ryan Clark has the history of dating, and he also has a biracial child. And it's like for him to say that Robert Griffin doesn't have these conversations going on in his home, I beg your pardon. Robert Griffin has a black mom whose his mother is also a retired sergeant in the U.S. Army, and she's also a woman that had to face a lot of adversity. She spoke about it, being a woman of power in the military. So for him to say that type of thing, man, again, it's like it's just just throwing stuff out there, man. It's just to be the mouthpiece and just trying to say stuff to stir the pot. And a lot of times, people like Ryan Clark they just are better off just being quiet, man, and just letting things play out. That's how I feel about
Hmm. Well, let me throw this out there, Zeke, because essentially you're going next here. Do you think there's any validity to what Ryan Clark said about um, perhaps maybe someone who doesn't have um, a black wife maybe just can't relate? Do you think there's any validity to that? Do you side more here with Ryan Clark or Robert Griffin III?
I've tried to take um a neutral look at this whole topic, um, because I've always felt like RG3 was somewhat of a cornball. Um,
Okay.
it. I would agree
because I
with that.
mean, honestly, he gives off a lot of um Whitlock to me. And for those of you who don't know, probably my least favorite sports analyst
For those who
is
don't know who Whitlock is, describe that trope.
Jason Whitlock. Is Jason Whitlock seems like the type of person to me who relishes in the opportunity to jump on a um jump on the train of people who tend to not side with um the Angel Reeses or the Ryan Clarks or he seems more. I don't want to say that because that's gonna hurt a lot of people.
Man, say
Jason
it.
Whitlock is the type of dude who Fox News would call and put on TV for his opinion. Um, he- I hear Dave saying that he's tired of people like Orion Clark and Stephen A. Smith and those types acting like they're the voice of Black America. Well, I would say I'm tired of Jason Whitlock being white America's black voice, and
I agree with that.
that's kind of the vibes that um I get from RG3. Um, so I understand where Ryan came from when he made his comments. I think his comments were taken um in a way that he didn't intend for them to be taken, because everybody's talking about, oh, he talked about the man's wife, he dissed the man's wife. Um, I'm gonna pull up the quote that he said on his tweet if I can find it again, because I got lost in all the other tweets that I was looking at. But he pretty much said, um, this is a response to um RG3's response to his initial comments. I didn't attack your wife. I spoke on what you do on social media and TV. Like I said, I met your wife, and she seemed like a lovely lady that was worth more than the color of her skin. Now, I've seen a bunch of clips and pictures of RG3, and he seems to lean into the fact that he's in an interracial marriage. Um, and when you put yourself out there like that, you leave yourself exposed to certain types of criticisms. In this particular clip where he was talking about how much he felt like Angel Reese hated Caitlin Clark, um, he was mimicking Angel Reese when she was on the bench last year when Kennedy Carter fouled Caitlin Clark, and he was doing so in a way that portrayed the some of the many stereotypes that are given to black people in general, but black women in particular, with the excessive head movements and yeah, you go girl, that's right, baby, get her, and all that types of talk. And his wife is in the background just posing and smiling and nodding in agreement. And it's not a good look, because it Caitlin Clark, going back to why a lot of the WNBA players may feel a type of way about Caitlin Clark. She's been it goes back to what we talked about before, with certain actions by certain players being taken one way, but if another player does these same actions, they're deemed in a vilified way. Caitlin Clark is known for flopping, especially since she got into the WNBA. She's known for flopping. She's known for um her antics that some see as intense and showmanship, and like the the action that Angel Reese did to her in the championship game where she was doing the John Cena "You Can't See Me." Caitlin Clark was doing that to players in games before, but it was, oh, look at her, that's so dope, blah blah blah, look at her, that's swag, or whatever they wanted to give it. But when Angel Reese did it, it was, oh, you shouldn't taunt players like that, blah blah blah. The foul that Angel Reese was supposedly cheering, if you look at the plays before that, Kennedy Carter was upset because she felt like Caitlin Clark threw an elbow at her. Am I saying that she should have came at her with the cheap shot? No. But when you look at the context of the cheap shot, you understand why she did what she did. She caught an elbow, she got upset. I've caught elbows. I've been hit by pitches. Were they intentional? No. But in the moment, I was heated. I got hit in the head with a curveball. It didn't hurt, but the fact that homeboy hit me in the head with a pitch, I wanted to fight him. Once I calmed down, I realized if he really wanted to hit me, it would have been a fastball.
Bro,
So
before you get too much on the tangent here, like, so do you think?
I'm not I'm going back towards it, but answer your question, or ask your question.
No, I was just gonna say, like, do you? So do you think Ryan Clark was justified in his criticism of
I
RG3?
absolutely do. I absolutely do, because if RG3 can sit there and criticize, like a lot of time, like some of the arguments that I hear was, this is This is just about kids. Everybody's going over these young women, blah blah blah. If RG3 could sit there on his podcast and criticize Angel Reese, a young woman, then Ryan Clark can turn around and criticize RG3, a grown man. Because if
Yeah,
he can give the
but
criticism,
What
he
the,
should be able to take the
he
criticism.
went after his wife though, bro.
No, he
So
didn't go after his. See that?
I'm gonna read you the quote. I got the quote right here. All
Read
right,
it.
let me pull it up because the thing about it is the way he went about it, man, was like it was all
it's
about trying to make sure he pointed out that his wife was white. So here's a quote. The one thing we know about RG3 is he's not having conversations at home about what black women have to endure in this country, about what young black women and athletes like Angel Reese have had to deal with being on the opposite side of Caitlin Clark's rise and ascension into stardom. Okay, sounds like jealousy to me. Then it goes on. If you're RG3, when is the last time within your household you've had a conversation about what Angel Reese is dealing with? You
but
haven't been able to do that because in both of your marriages, you've been married to white women. This is what he. This is out of his own mouth. My man said you haven't been able to do that because in both of your marriages, you've been married to white women. Like,
How is that
what does
attacking his
that have to
wife?
do? Huh?
How is that attacking his wife?
it's attacking
Oh, oh,
him for being with a white woman. So do
yeah.
you think like a man that's married to a white woman is less qualified to talk about these kind of topics?
Who is he having these conversations with? Who is he getting the point of view from?
So the fact that he has a black mom or black children does has no impact, like females,
He's got
like.
biracial children. So his you see what I'm saying?
But be real, like those kids are not going to be considered like biracial, like they're going to be considered black.
Why?
It's why? It's just that's culturally that's what it
This is
is.
America.
Nah, I think my wife is biracial. And I think it is a culture thing, but it's what you identify, like what you culturally feel closer to. You see what I'm saying? She may feel culturally closer to
Well,
the
I got you,
Caucasian
Dave.
side.
I don't want to bring your wife into this either. But like, let's just stay on the topic. I would say like, so like, is that that's a real thing? You think?
What's what?
Like, if what Ryan Clark is saying, like Robert Griffin should just keep his mouth shut on these kind of things because of what Angel Reese is
Yeah,
going
that's
through.
what he.
Like, what
That's
what is she
basically what
going
he's
through?
saying. He basically saying like doesn't So here's my thing. If this is about being black, then Ryan Clark should be able to say whatever he wants. He's a black man. What does his wife have to do with him having to shut his mouth? Like, why does he have to shut up just because he has a white wife? That's what I'm saying. That's what it sounds like was coming from Ryan Clark. From
Well,
Ryan
how
Clark.
is it any different in your eyes, I guess, Zeke, if Ryan Clark should be able to criticize in that way? He's not a woman, so why should be able to talk about it at all? Maybe he should be quiet too then, right?
But he's not talking about the situation. He's talking about Robert Griffin being willing to speak on the situation. He didn't speak on the situation. He spoke on Robert Griffin. Now it's no secret that, like Dave said, they aren't the best of friends. They
Right.
got beef. But another quote from Robert Griffin or from Ryan Clark was pointing to how you got Keith Olbermann and Dave Portnoy who openly berated Andrew Reese while she was in college,
Yeah.
and now it seems like I said, same thing with Whitlock. RG3 seems to pander towards those types, that type of audience, and now he has their back. And that was Ryan's point. Like you do all of this and you jump on the bandwagon with trying to point out flaws and tear Angel Reese down to get the support of people who, if you didn't have that opinion, probably wouldn't like you at all. But because you're on their bandwagon and on their team, so to speak, yeah, now you got their ear, you got their attention. They're gonna support you until you slip up. Then you're just gonna. I almost said something,
I
but
didn't, I didn't, I didn't give my take on this, but I would say this: like, kudos to Angel Reese, bro. The fact that she's getting so much pub to me is incredible because, like, what she's going through. she should be thankful for it because to me she is probably one of the worst players I've ever seen. Like my goodness, like the fact that she gets so much pub is
Yo,
crazy because she is awful. Like she's a big man in the game of WNBA, so she plays close to the basket. Usually, big men shoot 50% or greater. For context, she actually has a player on her team that is another big man. I believe Angel Reese might be considered like a power forward. The other person on the team, the center, is actually shooting over 50%. For context, Caitlin Clark is shooting better from three than Angel Reese is shooting layups. They like literally have a term for Angel Reese called not a rebound, a me bound with an M because half of her rebounds are her own shots that she misses. And so they call that joint a me bound, which is hilarious because it's true. And so it's they're like, yo, kudos to her. She'd be cut on almost any other team. I mean, she's barely averaging double digits. She got double digit rebounds because it's the me bounds that just keeping her afloat, bro. It's crazy. So for like, I think I give props where props is due. I really feel like she's milking this whole rivalry for everything it's worth. Because like WNBA is kind of cutthroat because they don't have a whole lot of roster spots because they don't have a whole lot of teams. Like I actually think she probably would be cut by now if it wasn't for the kind of attention that she brings to the league. So kudos to her for staying relevant with the kind of game that she has. But I don't see it. I guess the way that you do it as far as that. I think it was crossing the lines. The way that he phrased it. I can't understand how anyone could talk like that and then and yeah and go and be on air. But
so let me to wrap this really quick. This is what I want to end with because this is how I really feel about this situation. Far beyond far beyond the fact of what these guys have been saying to each other, because it's been gross on both of their sides because they're acting severely immature. These girls that they're talking about, these are kids, man. These girls are kids in the grand scheme compared to us. You know what I'm saying? And for this whole thing to get as much attention as it has gotten, and it has caused these two guys to go at each other the way that they have, and it's been going viral. It's in the news cycle. It's embarrassing, man. It really is, because there are so many other things based on their jobs with what both of them do and the audience that they reach on their platforms. There are so many more important things, so many more important sports stories that they could be talking about instead of talking about this nonsense, man. I think it's nonsense, and I think they've wasted the last 2.5 weeks on this when there's been so much other good stuff to report on. That's
So,
just
so would you have rather like Ryan Clark just not responded to RG3? Because if we go back to this conversation, RG3 was the only one who was criticizing these kids, as you said.
so. The thing about it is, RG3 had an opinion on. He said he said Angel Reese hates Caitlin Clark,
Okay,
right?
I
And
saw that.
then, huh?
I saw that.
He said that, right? So the
what's wrong
response,
with that, by the way?
but
Like
that's what. Hold on,
we
that's
like
what I'm saying.
rivalries in
So
sports.
but what I'm saying is the comeback to that was, uh, well, you wouldn't be able to have that conversation about what it's like to be hated because you married to a white woman. What? Come on,
Yeah,
man.
that's wild to me. That's
That's what I'm
wild.
saying. Like, as grown men, he should have said, "Come on, bro. Our country has seen so many more displays of hatred, and you want to come with that. Two girls on a basketball court, and you talking about hate. That's what you're getting from that play is hate. Ryan Clark could have schooled RG3 on so much history about hate rather than to take the angle and take the road that he took. And I guess I'm disappointed because I expected more from Ryan Clark based on what he's given us in the past. I expected more from him.
Yeah, I didn't expect much more from Ryan Clark. Like to me, like he does to me like that was a very racist take from Ryan Clark, but that's just my opinion.
Well, the expectation is he's a grown man and he's got kids, both of those young ladies' ages. You see what I'm saying? So at some point, I would have loved to have seen the fatherly response, the more educated, the educated former pro athlete Ryan Clark response than the one that I saw. I felt like he took the easy way out. I felt like he took the Stephen A way out when he should have stood on business and been more educated with his response. That's just my take. It's a very divisive topic, man. You know what I'm saying? Because um, we all see stuff like that through a different lens. And it's cool because we all have our opinions on it. You know what I'm saying? But
For sure.
at the end of the day, man, it's like I think there's so much more going on in the world, man. Like there should be focus on other things. You know, both of
The
those
me
both of those
bound
guys are in the
machine.
sports arena, huh?
The me bound machine.
Z, get in,
Yeah.
man. All right, Z not feeling that, man. You better.
we grab these me bounds.
Chris, you used to stand on the court and watch me and Zoe grab me bounds all the time, and you propped us up and cheered us on. So what's the difference?
Bro, you wasn't
We
shooting
were
no
passing the ball
30%.
back and forth to each other at the hoop, and y'all was like, yeah, 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 because offensive rebounds are important, are they not?
They
Off,
are. And Angel Reese got a lot
bro,
of.
bro, but to be considered on that level, like we were in high school, bro. Like that wasn't professional, bro. If that happened in the NBA, I would stop watching. But anyways, let's keep it moving if we got time left.
Yeah, we got time, man. Let's do it. By the way, Pete Alonso just went deep. The Mets up 3-0.
Yeah, man. You know what topic we should talk about is are the Braves buyers or sellers at the trade
We'll
Don't
get to
worry
that.
about the Braves. Next topic.
Let's go,
deadline?
man. All right, let's go. Next topic. You ready?
All right, Hunter. Blah. Travis Hunter recently married his longtime fiancee, Leanna Lene, without signing a prenup agreement. The critics calling him crazy for not signing an agreement are right to do so. And we'll do our traditional format from five to one, in one, two, and three. Oh, wow. You know what? I'm going to do devil's advocate here.
What? This dude,
I wish you would just stick with your choice, man.
this
Stop.
dude went like this.
The
Right.
audience loves drama, man. They love it.
How
But
you know we? Never mind. I almost said something.
yeah,
All
Z,
right.
why don't you give your take first on this one then?
Listen, I'm tired of this whole hashtag boycott marriage and this all and the other hashtag that was in the picture that we saw was avoid single mothers. Um,
Oh my gosh.
this bothers me because people are mad about the wrong thing. Um, you scream avoid single mothers, and one of the big things that over the last decade or so of me being in social media outlets and social media groups and everything is a lot of people say that women have trouble taking accountability for their actions. They like to deflect and instead of taking accountability, they want to point to other things and other causes for their circumstances. But my thing is these same men that want to harp on women not want to take accountability should be harping on these men about creating single mothers.
Yes.
Um, because last time I checked, unless your name was Mary, you needed help creating that child. Um, so instead of saying boycott marriage and trying to groom this younger generation to be players and I'm gonna say it, male hoes, we should be teaching these young men how to um
patient, like wait. I'm not saying you gotta rush into marriage like I did, but that's me. I would tell somebody to take their time and find the right one before I tell them to not get married. Um, because not everybody can find that one right away. If you find her, great. If you find your person early on in life and you want to be with her and you know that for a fact and you don't want to waste time, go for it. But I would rather you wait and eventually get married, but to sit here and say avoid single mothers like they became single mothers on their own, that's dumb. I need these men, this previous generation, to take a different approach with this and teach these young men, yo, like come. I understand the people who wanted him to sign a prenup because times are changing and women are more ruthless than they have been in the past. At the same time, if you take your time and find the right one, you ain't gotta worry about that. You don't have to worry about her leaving you and taking half of your stuff because you build and you grow together. If this is the person he wants to be with, don't go into it with a backup plan like just in case this don't work because last time I checked, people actually take their vows seriously. Um, and to promote this boycott marriage and avoid single mothers and take the Paul Pierce approach. Didn't he say marriage was for old people and poor people or something like that? Like
Yeah,
that's
stupid.
it's ridiculous. And to see that they're pushing this on this young man instead of being happy for him, this should be the happiest time of his life. He got drafted to the NFL, which was a dream of his. He found the woman that he wants to spend the rest of his life with and build generational wealth with. He got her, he married her. Yeah, they probably feel better if he just had 3 kids with her and went the Ant-Man role. Here's your money up front. I don't want nothing to do with you. We can't celebrate Ant-Man, but then tear Travis Hunter down. This generation is backwards, and it's very, very frustrating. And I'm gonna stop because I feel myself getting really upset, and I'm gonna start rambling. So who's next?
All right. Well, I'll let Dave close us out because I want him to go against me here because I'm just basically playing devil's advocate because it's what I like to do, audience. And so like
Hot take cracks.
let me attack this a little bit. Let me attack this a little bit, and then
Get
we'll
in there.
we'll see if Dave can save the
Dave, can
day.
you mute him?
Yeah,
No, no, he
yeah,
can't.
but
No, he
it
can't.
won't be good for ratings.
Dave is gonna have fun trying to take this argument apart here. But I'm gonna take the bait here. Um, Probably not what I agree with, but let me give the opposing viewpoint. Listen, man, we ain't talking about a regular dude. He's not a regular dude. The dude is what, the second, or I think he's the second pick in the draft. He's the second or the third pick in the draft. The guy is going to be raking in millions of dollars. And so, like, bro, a marriage is supposed to
Wealthy.
be a covenant. A covenant is a holy agreement. And so, based on that, it shouldn't, the government really shouldn't really even come into this, right? This should be based on someone who believes in Christ, right? Has Christian morals, and someone who takes their covenant seriously. The Bible talks about let your yes be yes and your no be no, right? In other words, you shouldn't have to swear by heaven or by earth, right? You shouldn't have to swear by anything because your yes should be, as a man, should be considered something that is your word is your bond, so to speak, right? And so when you enter into a holy covenant, you're saying yes before God. That should be all that you need. So from the women's perspective, all you need is this yes. But at the same time, the man should be able to protect himself from, because of the situation that he finds himself in, which is unique, that he might have a girl that may be only after him for his money. Listen, if you're just here for me, then you should have no problem signing this prenup because my word is my bond, and my word is my bond. I have no intention of ever leaving you. And listen, then you should have no problem. If things don't work out, you know, that's it. But I mean, you see this happen a lot, unfortunately, and I don't agree with it. But I feel like his situation might be unique, where yeah, you might have ulterior motives here that you can't flesh out, and they should, men should be allowed to protect themselves, because in the judicial system they get torn apart, they get their kids taken away, and they get millions of dollars of their money taken away, and you know what I mean. It's just, it's not right, right? And so we shouldn't have the government involved in holy matrimony. It should just be between the couple and God. Dave, go ahead and try to tear that argument apart, bro.
Muted.
Oh, he can't tear it apart, audience. He can't.
My
He's
bad.
speechless.
My bad.
Let me stop.
He was too busy
So,
laughing during your argument. He had to mute himself.
yeah,
Oh
man.
man.
I was trying to keep from breaking, interrupting you. So I've had a week to kind of to throw this around, man, and I've heard everybody from the Hodge twins to Mason Cam. Everybody has an opinion on this, about this man's marriage and about this man's wallet and about his now wife. And for me, I think everybody's so focused on what this young lady said when people ask her, well, how'd you guys meet? And, she said that, he wasn't really her type. But then I guess her brother told her, who he was. And then all of a sudden, then next thing you know, they're dating or whatever. But she said that, she was, he was in a relationship and hadn't broken up with the person that he was with and all of this other stuff. So, as the story goes, they have a story. They have a story about how they met. They have a story about how their love life has been going since they met. And I think that there's way too many people that have an opinion on their relationship just based on what social media has shown us, and sometimes what this young lady has shown us, of what type of person she can be. Um, she's a little rough around the edges, but she's young. Even at the Heisman ceremony, Dion had to make her stand up and give Travis a hug. She was just sitting back, kind of acting like she was salty, and she's young. So the displays that people are seeing from her, man, it's just an example of her just being young, man. They're kids, man. And, you know, he's a kid with a lot of money. Only they know what their relationship is like. We don't know because we're not there. Nobody knows, what kind of relationship they have and what they're like behind closed doors. So at the end of the day, I just kind of feel like there's a lot of people giving him advice based on mistakes that they've made. You know what I'm saying? It's the whole Paul Pierce coming out being mad, uh, because he made a poor decision in picking his mate at one point, and he got put in a situation he was put in. I'm seeing a lot of people. Amon Shumpert recently, they were just talking about how uh, his wife just got a settlement and she got like 3 of their properties. She got like a hefty amount of money, from him. He's got to pay her like $8,000 a month, just for their daughters, and for their well being and stuff like that. And people are like, oh man, see what I'm saying? He should have done this. He should have signed a prenup. He should have done this. You know what he should have done? He should have went home because he was disloyal to her and he cheated on her. And now they're not married anymore. And she got what she deserved, what was rightfully hers based on them being married. You know what I'm saying? And so when you make dumb decisions like that, that's the kind of stuff that happens. Travis and his wife, man, they're young and they're gonna make mistakes. And it's unfortunate that it's whatever happens and whatever mistakes they make, it's gonna be underneath the microscope. The whole world's gonna be watching. But I'm sure the fatherly role that Dion has taken in his life. They showed a video where Dion was teasing him, and he told him that he was going to do his prenup for him before he got married, and he was like, "It's going to be about this thick." And then so I'm sure Dion had that conversation with him, about that. But that's based on Dion's situation and what he went through in his first marriage. So people have to just kind of step back, man, and take their personal emotion out of this thing and just let these kids be who they are. And if it happens to go south, which I hope it doesn't, I hope that they have God in their relationship first and foremost, and I hope it lasts for them. But if it doesn't, it'll just be a hard lesson for both of them. You know what I'm saying? Marriage is not a game. It's not a joke. A lot of people say marriage is hard. I think we make it hard. I don't think marriage is hard, man. I think we as human beings, we make it hard when we you know don't check our emotions and we bring trivial stuff into it. I wish these kids nothing but the best, man. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of grown ups should just stay out of their business.
In all honesty, I don't agree. I don't disagree with you guys. So, like, I think, in all honesty, though, I was just trying to have a little fun with it. But no,
Johnny poked her head in the
Too
office like,
late,
"What
man.
you say?"
no, no.
You
But
heard
yeah,
me and Z
I think
cooking, and now you just want to change your opinion. That's all.
no, I think it's on the man to make sure that he chooses a wife correctly, and he uses proper discernment. And so, like, he's got to be accountable for those actions. So hopefully, he chose the right one. And to me, like, that would be like, well, what's her character like? What's her prayer life like? You know what I mean? Is that someone that I think that is worthy of putting a ring on it, right? And so, like, if he didn't do his due diligence, then he's probably going to be in trouble. But either way, that's you got to take responsibility for that. So let's get into the roundup here. Unless you guys got anything else you want to chime in on that.
Nah, let's get into it, man.
We need some music. Dun, 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 dun,
I know
dun,
we'll
dun,
get
dun,
some.
dun. This week in the weekly roundup, Stephon Diggs goes viral. I don't know if you guys saw it, but like Stephon Diggs was on a boat with, I think it was Cardi B, wasn't it?
I don't know, man.
Oh,
But
didn't we talk
anyway, he
about this
was
last week?
Start me to
nah,
lying.
nah. He was found with some pink substance.
Yeah, we talked about that
Uh,
last week, didn't we?
I don't think so, man. I
Or
don't
maybe
know.
it was in the after show we talked
yeah,
about.
it was the after show. Yeah, yeah. No, we didn't talk about that. But he was found with a pink substance, and I found out later that I guess the pink substance was I don't know if I can say it on YouTube. Um,
It was that pink powder.
yeah, is that white dust, right? So, anyways, but yeah, it's that pink
Wait
powder.
a minute. Was it confirmed that that's what it was?
That's what they're saying online.
What? It
Yeah,
was
see,
booger
let's
sugar?
not do that, man. That's
Booger
where
sugar.
you know what I'm saying.
They said that they got like a pink variety of it.
Yeah, it's got a
That's
special
weird.
name and stuff like that. It started with a T or something. I heard somebody mention it, but let's not put it out there, man.
Yeah. But anyways, Stephon Diggs. Yeah, I think you said it maybe like afterwards. He was voted like the least likely by the Minnesota Vikings
By his
to
teammates.
by his teammates, by his fellow teammates. The person on the team that they would least want their daughter to date. Just
Yeah,
just crazy.
that's
Um,
bananas, right?
yeah. But in other news, we have Zion Williamson. Man, this guy just can't stay healthy, can't stay out of trouble off the court, and now he's being sued for SA. Any of y'all want to chime in on this one?
Nah,
Come on, Zeke. You ain't nothing to say.
no.
I just find it
It,
interesting.
it- it's it's
I just find it.
disappointing because I'm a Duke fan, and I was
Oh,
hoping
okay.
for a lot more from this young man in his career, and it's like he's got more headlines off the court than he does on the court.
He does,
Um,
man.
he's still young, so hopefully somebody can big brother this dude and get him on the right track and salvage what's left of his career. But I don't know, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he actually had a pretty decent season this last year too, which is kudos to him. He finally bounced back, stayed healthy for most
did
of the
he? He
year.
got hurt.
He stayed healthy for most of the year. I mean, the team was trash, but I mean that's neither here nor there.
Yeah,
Um,
for me though, man, this whole thing is buns to me because I'm seeing these SA claims coming out from these individuals, and I don't want to call them ladies because I think it's kind of some of it is kind of tacky, man, like how they're handling this stuff. But that's just my opinion. But not pursuing criminal charges, and you're saying that SA took place, but you're looking for between 18 and $50 million from him. But you're more worried about civil. You're not worried about criminal. You don't want him to pay with time. You want him to pay with his wallet, which is crazy to me. So I kind of look at that a little sideways. I'm like, don't sound right.
Are
yeah,
we allowed to look at SA sideways? Because I feel
I
like
am. I don't know
if
about
you
anybody
question
else.
the accuser, then you're seen as the bad guy. But a lot of the stuff that be coming out is like it seems shady, man.
I'm gonna tell you, ever since the Trevor Bauer thing, my sympathy thing is out the window. I play it 50-50, man. I'm
I
not
can
like
dig it.
you automatically, because you saying it automatically. Nah, man. I saw what that girl did
I'm
to
glad you brought
Trevor
that up,
Bauer.
Dave, because it's so sad. Trevor Bauer is out over there overseas, pitching fantastic from all the reports
Yeah,
that
in
I've seen.
Mexico now.
Uh, and like the man was found not guilty. Matter of fact, in recent news, I think this just happened last week. The accuser had to pay him. I think it was
Yeah.
like
Yep.
$300,000. His SA accuser had to pay him, and
Hmm.
the dude can't get his life back in the MLB as one of the premier pitchers in the game.
Yeah.
There's just something that's not fair about that. So Zeke, I don't disagree with you, man. Like, yeah, you should be allowed to look at it sideways when it becomes just a money grab. I mean, we live in America. Should be innocent until proven guilty. Am I right? Am I
Sure.
wrong?
You're right, but that ain't the case no more. I mean, you look
Nah.
at one of my personal uh favorite actors, Johnny Depp. I mean, we lost Captain Jack Sparrow because of all that mess with him and Amber Heard, and he was found to be more victim than abuser. And Disney dropped him as soon as they heard a sniff of this case going on. They dropped him before they could get any kind of cooperation or anything. So yeah, I hate the way it's treated. The men are treated in the situations where if the woman says he did it, is
That's
guilty
it.
until proven innocent.
It's a wrap.
Well, so we don't run over time. The queen of the me bound, Angel Reese.
So
They
let's
are,
talk about Saquon because we already talked about Angel Reese. You
but
did
they're
your
betting
five
on the
minutes on
first
Angel
shot.
Reese already.
They're betting on the first shot that she misses her
That's
first
cool.
shot.
Saquon got to battle the Madden curse. I think that's more of a headline than people betting on
Bro,
Angel Reese and her first shot.
bro, they got like 6 or 7.
Between the Madden curse and the Offensive Player of the Year curse, Saquon might pop an Achilles sneezing while walking down the stairs. But you want to talk about Angel Reese?
Bro, it's news, man. They're
If we
betting
already
that
talked, you already gave your take on Angel
this is different.
Reese.
This is different though. It's not
It's
my
not.
take. This is
It's not.
news.
It's not. It's not different.
Sorry, audience. Zeke don't want to let us report on the news here, so we're gonna move on to Stephon or
Chris, wait, I thought you
Saquon
hated talk
Barkley.
about the WNBA, Chris. I've never seen you this excited to talk about the WNBA, Chris.
This is hilarious. I'm a fan of funny stuff. My bad. Anyways,
Wow.
to make Zeke happy, we're gonna move on to the Madden. Do you guys
Make
believe
me
in the
happy by
curse?
pushing the button and ending the stream. It's past my bedtime.
Okay. All right, guys. We'll make Zeke even more happy. We'll end it there then. We're kind of 10 minutes over anyway.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah. Thanks for joining us this week. Make sure you like and subscribe. And yeah, tell your friends about us. Leave your voice in the comments, and we'll broadcast it even if it's on the next episode. If you want to give your takes on any of the topics that we covered while we were here. But guys, we appreciate you. Sorry we were a little late. Won't happen again. See you next week, 9 p.m. Have a good night.
Deuces.
Peace.